Well then, now it is time for something very special indeed. Arriving over the distant horizon from the right-hand side, this is the German Air Force tactical display. Over the next 20 minutes, this display will present a broad spectrum of the German Air Force's tactical capabilities, including formation flying, aerial refueling, quick reaction alert, air-to-air combat, and tactical transport. Every part of this routine has real operational relevance, including that opening pass in an aerial refueling configuration. Germany's A400Ms can fly with hose and drogue pods under the wings, allowing them to refuel up to 2 probe-equipped aircraft simultaneously. Additionally, a hose and drum unit can be deployed from the cargo ramp for centerline refueling of larger receiver aircraft, and that HDU is also fitted today. With the hoses extended, the A400M was limited to 30 degrees angle of bank, so to allow the team to tighten up their repositioning turns and make a quicker return to the display area, the hoses have now been retracted into their housing. This allows the bank angle to be increased to 45 degrees during the formation portion of this display. Back in 2019, Germany became the first nation to deploy the A400M as a tanker in the lead up to the retirement of their A310 MRTTs in 2022. 4 of their A400Ms are permanently designated as tankers, though the equipment can be fitted to any of the 53 such aircraft in their inventory. Germany's tanker needs are also met through a fleet of 3 KC-130J-30 Hercules based in France and operated as part of a multinational Franco-German tanker transport unit. The first German KC-130 refueling mission took place in November of last year. German A400Ms regularly practice aerial refueling with both German and multinational assets, refueling a mix of NATO aircraft including Czech Gripens, RAF Typhoons, US Navy Super Hornets and even a US Air Force CV-22B Osprey. In the coming years, Germany also intends to gain the ability to refuel probe-equipped Chinooks with the A400M. A400Ms are themselves capable of taking on fuel from other aircraft. German examples have done so from an RAF Voyager, and French A400Ms have received fuel both from each other and even from a hose-equipped Dassault Rafale, underscoring the innate versatility of the hose and drogue method of refueling. Aerial refueling acts as a force multiplier, enabling aircraft to fly farther and for longer, extending the scope and reach of missions. Most critically, it extends the combat radius of jets like the Eurofighter, allowing them to operate from bases further away from the front line. German A400Ms have been deployed as tankers to the Middle East as part of the fight against the so-called Islamic State, and the country also provides tanker support to the Czech Republic, which has no tankers of its own. Now, as much as we aim to present the operational capabilities of the German Air Force, we also want to do so in a photogenic way, and this next pass was included with the photographers in mind. From the right, a topside pass. Germany has a really special place in the hearts of all those who frequent the Antidotum Airshow. It was here in 2022 that they conducted the first official display by their Eurofighter demonstration team. Then in 2025 they did likewise with the Tornado. And though we don't have a Tornado solo display today, it is a great privilege to welcome one to the flying programme, and a special scheme aircraft at that. And now we are really thrilled to present this special formation routine, which has been designed specifically for the Leszno audience and featuring the Polish flying display debut of a German Air Force A400M. We're now coming towards the end of the formation section of this display, the aircraft turning back towards us, and the front three shall be conducting a break. They're going to approach from the left, and as they come towards us, the A400M will ease up and out, performing a steep climb followed by a wing over. Following from the left, the Tornado. Tornado refers to a family of three distinct types of aircraft developed jointly by Britain, Italy and Germany in the 1970s. The ADV interceptor fighter, ECR electronic combat and reconnaissance aircraft, and the IDS interdiction and strike fighter. Today, Germany is one of the last remaining Tornado operators, and it plans to keep some of their 89 remaining examples in service until 2035. The Tornado is a swing-wing variable geometry aircraft. It conducted its last pass with the wings in the forward position at 25 degrees of sweep. But during this turn, the wings have been swept backwards to 67 degrees, and it now comes back for its final pass from the right. The next phase of this display will focus on the operational capabilities of the Eurofighters. The two jets are about to do something very rarely demonstrated at an airshow in the form of basic fighter manoeuvres. In other words, they're about to do a dogfight. A training engagement typically starts with a manoeuvre called the merge, with both aircraft flying towards each other at equal airspeeds and agreed lateral separation. As they cross, they turn towards each other, and thus the fight begins. Both pilots will now be working hard to try and keep each other in their sight while preventing their opponent from getting behind them. That is the danger zone. If someone is behind you, they can very likely get a clear shot. You won't know where they are, and you can't get back at them. However, even this is a careful balancing act. Turn too hard and try to keep the enemy in front of you, and you could bleed too much speed and compromise your ability to manoeuvre, and thus become a sitting duck. It's much easier to lose energy than to gain it, and any jet fighter will slow down during a maximum rate turn, even on full afterburner. BFM like this is to gain a tactical advantage over your opponent. These manoeuvres may be offensive, allowing you to bring your forward-firing weapons to bear, or they may be defensive. Very often in a close quarters fight like this, they will be both. Even if you are on the attack, the smallest mistake will be enough to give your enemy the advantage and put you on the back foot. An unknown aircraft has now been detected flying towards the display area. The two Eurofighters have been called to abandon their combat training, and they've been retasked to intercept and identify the threat. The German Air Force has Eurofighters at a permanent 15-minute readiness state stationed at Neuburg and Wittmund, with missions being coordinated by the National Air Security Centre near Udem. Germany also has the ability to set up QRA stations at Norovnik and Rostock, and they also provide part of the multinational QRA cover in Romania as part of the NATO Enhanced Air Policing Programme. In this case, the target aircraft is a relatively slow-moving one, and the Eurofighters can quickly catch up with it. Watch the lead Eurofighter rocking its wings to say, "Follow me." QRA missions are always launched in pairs, with one aircraft approaching the target to conduct a close inspection, while the other hangs back by about 500 metres to monitor the situation. It will be the job of that second aircraft to use its weapons if the target aircraft is found to be hostile. The lead Eurofighter will relay critical information such as the aircraft type and registration to ground controllers. At the same time, the pilots will attempt to make contact with the crew of the unknown aircraft on guard radio, and if that fails, then manoeuvres like the one we have just seen, with the lead Eurofighter rocking its wings, will be used as a means of communication. The lead Eurofighter has now extended its landing gear. In other words, it is instructing the A400M to land at the airport they have just flown over, and that airport is, of course, Leszno. ICAO regulations dictate that any aircraft crossing an FIR boundary, essentially any aircraft that will cross national borders, must carry a copy of the standard international intercept procedures with them. This will ensure that if they are intercepted, they will understand what these visual cues mean. Przechwytują albo towarzyszą pilotom naszego zaprzyjaźnionego kraju z wschodu, którzy bardzo często nadwyrężają naszą uprzejmość i znajdują się... The target aircraft is now turning onto final approach, and the two Eurofighters will remain with it for as long as possible before accelerating away and returning to base. The A400M, which is playing the part of the intruder today, will perform a low overshoot before moving into the final phase of this display. Slow pass at about 200 knots and 500 feet, the A400M will now demonstrate its ability to rapidly climb to a safe altitude in order to avoid ground threats, all while staying very close to the airfield boundary. This is possible due to the immensely powerful Europrop TP400 engines, producing a combined 44,000 horsepower. The TP400 was purpose-designed for this aircraft. It is the most powerful turboprop ever to enter full production, and it is responsible for the A400M's outstanding performance, enabling this aircraft to carry roughly double the payload of a C-130J, yet it can take off from shorter runways, climb faster, cruise higher, and fly farther. We're now going to see a demonstration of that power as the aircraft pitches up into a zoom climb from 500 feet to 2,000 feet with a wing over at the top. And there, the A400M exercising its full roll performance all the way to 120 degrees angle of bank. Nonetheless, the aircraft capable of carrying a great deal, 116 fully equipped troops or 37 tons of cargo, or of course a combination of the two. Lufttransportgeschwader 62, from which this aircraft comes, consists of 4 individual flying squadrons, one that is primarily tasked with strategic transport, one tasked with tactical transport, one tasked with special operations and humanitarian missions, and one which provides type-specific conversion training. And there is, of course, that multinational fleet as part of the unit as well. Now we see the aircraft arriving from the right for its final pass, concluding this German Air Force segment, flying through one last time the A400M. Well, Ben, I really enjoyed that formation display. Of course, I had a vested interest, but I'm on a proper adrenaline high after that.
That was brilliant, superb choreography.
Thank
you described
you.
it beautifully, and a fantastic effort on the part of all concerned in putting that on.